Cause you know, being with Remax and then the smaller company, like, here you get a lot of training, everybody's trying to give information.
Were like helpful.
Yeah,
Like, so I remember Remax, they were kind of like
competitive.
competitive and everything.
Yeah, so no, there was a few people in there that might give you some information in there, but not like here.
I like your. Yeah.
Nice to meet you too, JJ, right?
JJ.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fine. Then I'm sorry. Not good. There's not really that many. Yeah. Or if you have. Make sure it's not. It would be a matter of time. Matter of time. Hi, Aaron. Nice to meet No, I hate that. Hello, I am running. Yeah.
All right, morning. I can never yell. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday. All right, who got some gratitude or some chat or respect moments for us today? Oh, and then it goes quiet. Come on, we gotta have some gratitude today.
Thank you for coming to bring a breakfast.
Yeah. Who's up next? Don't worry. Where's he? He's coming. He's outside working the table.
Okay, I have a non-real estate related announcement.
Awesome, story.
I'm gonna be a grandma.
You're too young.
So cool.
So cool. The best thing ever. I spent all weekend with mine. I call her my love bug. Oh my God. Oh, everything goes away when you look at that face. Oh, it's the best. Aubrey.
Yeah, so, last night, probably like 7 before it got dark, we had finished eating dinner. And, my youngest daughter asked me to go jump on the trampoline. I'm like, I have this full belly. I want to go jump on a trampoline. I'm like, you know what, she's probably not gonna ask me to do this much longer. And they've been doing that a good bit lately. They used to be a babe, and even though I'm tired, I'm like, no, I need to enjoy this. So
Yeah.
both of my daughters actually came out there and we jumped.
Oh, that's so cool. Being in the moment. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So my second oldest just got his acceptance letter to full scholarship to Berry University.
I bet you are very Scott.
I'm thankful for it to wash away the fog.
I'm so thankful that my eyes would not stop being red yet.
Yeah.
I think the doctor it was that red too.
Yeah.
The pollen was so
The
red.
pollen and the pressure on the head was real yesterday. That was for sure.
So thankful for the rain too.
Well, any chat north effect moments? Any shout outs for each other? Yeah.
So I know that we announced that Lucy was the Southeast Regional Marketing Picture of the Year, but we have.
Go, Lucy.
Yes,
We have some hard work. It's very, I thought it was for me, and then I was like, no. Way to go, Lou. Anybody else? Oh, we have two back here. Okay.
Okay, I felt really loved on Friday.
Uh.
Beautiful surprise shower, and I think that's a great example of the Chat North effect, is how much y'all wrap your arms around me and love me through this exciting time. So thank you to all my friends.
I just want to give a shout out to Amy and Emily. I was here last week for one of their classes and I was the only one.
So you win?
Yes, sir.
You crushed it.
Everything by myself, like you all get but you know, they really took, you know, instead of just like going through the motions, we went through everything the way it goes along trial. Made me feel like I actually know my real estate stuff, so.
That's
Did they make you feel like you were the only one else? They put all their focus and energy, right?
Way to go. Amy. All right, Todd, come on up. Thank you for breakfast today.
Welcome.
Hey, everyone. Good morning. I'm Tyler Ruth Butler. Most of you know me. I'm here for what, 5 years now, I think, long time. A lot of y'all don't know that I actually do small repairs. Some of y'all may think that I only do replacements, but most of my business now is just repairs. Every structural point, typically there's something wrong with the roof, and most of the time it just needs maintenance. No one ever looks at their roof to see if it needs fixing or anything like that. So it's usually just a small fee to get the roof line, what's going on. A lot of y'all, I do want to point this out. There was a new code that came out in 2014 called Drip Edge, and I've been seeing it a lot lately where the inspector says, well, this house doesn't have drip edge on it, needs to be installed and everything. Drip edge is a metal piece that goes around the perimeter of the roof and helps protect the fascia boards. The idea with the code now is the fact that, as roofs get changed out in Georgia, the new drip edge will get put on with the new roofs. They did not force people to actually say, okay, you have to put this on, you have to spend this expensive piece, because to put it on after the roof is on is very difficult, time consuming, and it takes a while, and it's expensive. When we put it on, when we put on a new roof, it goes on before the shingle, so it's very easy to put on, and that's why they said you don't have to change that. So I've had some people say, oh, we need to get drip edge on this house, and I tell them, well, it wasn't required, so the house doesn't actually need the drip edge until they change the roof out. So you get an inspector and says, well, it doesn't have drip edge, but the house was built before 2014, it actually doesn't require any on there. So you can let the buyer agent or seller agent know at that time it doesn't require on there. We also do gutter work. We do gutter repair, we do gutter installation, and we also do some small siding repairs, soffit work. So a lot of times you'll see stuff with roof, then there'll be something with soffits. Just they were the other day, they were can in fact, and had a big hole in the soffits. We had to replace the soffit, then we did a roof tune up at the same time. So we do a lot of different things. That's really about it. I'm gonna quit. Anybody have any questions for me or concerns or on my work or anything?
So if you had a roof replacement in the last 3 years, would that contractor know that he had to put the drip edge on?
Yes,
So it should be there?
it should be there. And if it's not, then he's made a mistake and, you know, you could actually probably laugh and say, you didn't build this to code. Because he did not build the code. It is a code item. It is required for that road. So it should be there.
Will you talk a little bit about your inspection that you do and how you take videos of the roof? Because I think that's super duper important for our clients to understand what's going on with the roof when they're buying the house. And I think it's a really amazing service that you go up there, you video everything, you talk through it and deliver that to the client so that they know exactly what they're getting.
Sure, so when we go on a roof, you have us go out there and inspect the roof, we actually do a video of the roof, so it's kind of like being up on the roof, instead of just us coming back and saying, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Trust us, We'll actually take a video throughout the whole route and show you any of the issues that we're seeing. We'll show you if we think that the roof needs to be replaced because, it's has weather damage on it, or it's just that old fiberglass is starting to show through. And typically you'll see, if you see an old roof and you see on the edges of the shingle, there's kind of like a shine on it, when the sun's shining on it, that's the fiberglass coming through. Because the granulars are coming off so quickly at that point. Fiberglass will actually show through, and that's really replaced with that. But the video inspection, I have so many compliments on that, they'll say, it's like being up there. I'll actually have some people say, oh, that little lashes as he's walking out. But that way you get to see what is actually going on with that roof, or your roof. And the inspections are free, so we'll get up there, we'll take a look at everything. If you're about to put a house on the market, we just did that the other day. We'll take a video of the roof and show you everything that's going on with it, in case you want to go ahead and take care of some issues before you put it on the market. Okay, thank you.
Okay, as you can tell, we have a theme for today. Anybody notice? Purple rain. That's it, purple rain. We have a theme, so we have a jam-packed, team meeting today, and it's very exciting. We're gonna win prizes. So be ready, be ready. And, today we have an agent caravan.
No, that's it, actually,
Oh, is it? Friday.
Yeah, one's on Thursday and one's on Friday this week, and the times are a little different too, so look carefully, but make sure we're supporting our agent and their caravan, even though it's not a conventional Tuesday.
And this is Angelica Briseño's team, and they're really nicely priced properties, so you guys definitely support our agents whenever we have this. Might be a little bit, where is it? It's one's in Roswell and one's in Atlanta, so maybe get together and go together on a caravan. There for the word. And support our agents caravan. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Angelica as well. All right. Michael and Greg, where's the get?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Tuesday on this rainy day. So again, my name is Amy Spading with Michael and Gray, and I just want to talk about a couple of things. So today is 26th of March, so we only have a couple of days left for any of your buyers that closed last year to get that homestead exemption in. So if you send out that reminder, send out your touches, just make sure they're aware of that to get that in. They're not forgiving on that deadline for the counties. So that's the first thing. Second thing I want to talk about is the community association disclosure. We actually had a closing that happened yesterday, and the seller ended up paying some of the fees that could have been disclosed on that CAD. Some of those are going to be new account setup fees. It could be a move-in fee. Any fee that is not disclosed on that CAD would revert back to the seller paying it. If you look at the wording on there, it doesn't detail every single thing that could possibly be paid by the seller, but it's anything that's related to a transfer, initiation, or admin fee. So make sure that they're fully disclosing all of the fees on that CAD. And also, you'll know this, y'all do not fill out that CAD. Have your clients do it. Please do not touch that. And just a couple of things for us that we have coming up. We have a mastermind with Jason Abrams.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
So we'll be sending that out, and it'll come from Emily, but that is on April 11th from 10 to 3:15. There is a sign up sheet for it, and it'll be at Atlanta Athletic Club. And it's with Jason Abrams again on April 11th. And then we also have our new construction. Sorry, I don't have Emily here with me.
I've got a new construction for you.
Awesome. April 19th from 10 to 1, and that is here at Chat North. Make sure y'all sign up for it. Even if you took the new construction courses last time, they will. So don't think, oh, I've already taken it, not gonna get any new information, because it will be different. So make sure y'all sign up for that. Any questions? Awesome. Well, thank y'all. We look forward to closing with you.
All right.
Morning, morning. How's everyone doing?
Great.
If I look puffy, I did not party last night, this pollen's killing me. Good news on the rate front, after 2.5 weeks of rates pulling up, we had 2 pretty big days in a row. So last week we ended up just right over 6.875 on the national average. Right now, we've been suggesting to clients to float, just because there's positive movement in the market. Things look like they're trending in the right direction. We don't want a client to lock in immediately. Let's kind of ride that wave. So I want for you guys to know, this week jobless claims will be released on Thursday and then PCE on Friday. Those are the 2 big market movers that could potentially impact interest rates. And right now, they're expecting the first cut in rates to be June or July. So it's kind of shifted over. It was March, now June or July. Still hopefully good news on that front. And then Hunter and Aaron, do y'all want to cover a little bit about what we're seeing in terms of competition out there?
Yeah, so a lot of multiple offer situations on every single price point in multiple different states. I've got people putting in offers in Florida and Alabama as well, still seeing the exact same thing. We want to highlight that it's very pertinent at this point to have your clients fill out an application early in the week if you're going to take them to see homes. We don't recommend showing any homes unless they have a pre-approved letter, to be completely honest, because if clients are calling us on Friday night to get an application filled out, by the time that we get to everything, even if it is Friday night, we've seen, I know Matt had a situation where a client did this, they looked at a house on Saturday, there were no offers, it had been sitting around for 21 days. They filled out an application on Saturday. As they were filling out the application and Matt was working through everything, they got a cash offer and they accepted the cash offer within the time that they were filling out an application. So again, it's very competitive. Your clients are gonna lose opportunities if they don't get fully underwritten or get approved beforehand. We're used to people calling us on Friday night and we don't mind working on the weekend again, but it's very important to have them fully underwritten, or to be completely honest, you're not gonna win the financing contingency right now. So it's just not gonna happen. So unless they're fully underwritten or you do a shorter due diligence, we can get it underwritten in that time frame. But
At the very least,
Yeah.
pre-approved, and for your sake too, and for your time, because, if you're getting them out there. I had one this week who's, we're still waiting to see if he's under contract, but he's in the film industry. So anytime anyone is self-employed, even more so, because what they think they might make, or, what they know they make may not be what we calculate for mortgage guidelines. So you may be showing them houses before they're fully or before they're even pre-approved in a range that they may actually not even qualify for. So I had a guy who's in the film industry, he does an S corp, so I'm using 21 and 22 tax returns. But because of the film industry strike last year, almost anyone in that industry, their 23 income is lower. So when that happens, instead of averaging 2 years, if the next year comes in lower, we have the lower year. Well, the tax deadline is April 15th. Right now, since he's an S corp and he's a business, I don't have to apply the 23 the lower year until those returns are filed. Either filed, or once the tax deadline comes and there's an extension, we probably need to get a P&L, and therefore that's gonna drop his income. So I pre-approved him at the end of last week, actually it was Saturday, and told him basically, you've got a $3,000 a month difference, because I did get his P&L. So if you can buy something and close before April 15th, I can qualify you for $650. If you can't, and we're past that deadline, I'm gonna have to bring in the lower 23 income, you're looking at closer to $550. So for him, if he had done this sooner, they wouldn't be under such a gun to get him into something. So now it's like, hey, we need to close by April 12th. So hopefully they'll get, they made an offer this weekend, but again, if he had done that before he was out looking, they would have at least had more time to find that property. So there are all sorts of different situations. Those are just a couple, but self-employed people across the board, no matter your business, that tax deadline is gonna change what we can look at. So the sooner they're pre-approved, pre-underwritten ideally, but at least pre-approved, at least we've calculated that income and we know what that is, will be beneficial to everybody and help you win, like Hunter said. We know what we're dealing with. We can say, fine, we'll get him underwritten in 5 days in due diligence. At least I've calculated his income and I know that's not moving. So
I think one piece to add that no other team is gonna have this. We have a loan partner that was an underwriter for 11 plus years. She was a processor for 7.
we're looking at this as a loan officer, obviously, what we're going through with fine tooth comb. Then she is looking at it, and that's before, hopefully, we're getting it into an actual underwriting manager. So every file, every client that you send to us, we have 3 people that are checking over the file, and that just gives you peace of mind, so.
What I find so ironic about what everybody's saying is that this is supposed to be the way it is in real estate. You're supposed to wait till you go out to show a buyer until you're through. You're supposed to, these are all basic. And yet now it's causing you to have to do that because of the way the market is.
Right.
So if we stick to the basic as a rule of thumb in our business, we won't even have to deal with what it's not us. So it's going back to the basics of what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, question?
Yes, what about retirees that's entering the market? Say I just went through this myself. I retired 8 years ago. My wife recently retired. And, we were buying a new home here. When we first started the process, my wife still worked. So that's the way we approached the application process. But in the middle of that process, my wife decided to retire. So I think it had to fall back on our assets more so than our income. And they required us to put down more, which was not a problem because we did have the money. But how are you advising people that are either ready to retire or have already?
Say it's case by case, right?
Yeah, one thing that a lot of retirees don't realize is that they've got retirement funds that are set up, and if you're of retirement age, a lot of times, a lot of accounts, we're able to set up, say, hey, Mr. Smith, we need you to set up a automatic distribution of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. It's not required that you keep that distribution for forever. We just need it set up and from the financial advisor basically stating this is how much you're gonna start with a minimum distribution and if we qualify you off of that mark. So if your Social Security, your pension, that isn't enough to qualify, we're thinking, okay, how can we get creative and make this work for someone who's, moving into retirement age?
It's funny you mentioned that. That's exactly what I had to do.
Yep.
I had to start taking a distribution from my 401k. And, well, I had other assets, pension, 401k, this and that, and other thing. And, fortunately, it worked out because, we were in the process of selling our other home in Texas to pay for this home. And it all worked out. I'm just, stating for future clients that may be going through the same thing of what they need to do. And, that's what I was thinking. I said, you can go ahead and set up your flow of income immediately, so that it can be shown on a tax.
Say some clients are upfront and honest with us, we can usually figure out a plan, but if they're trying to hide something that they're gonna retire without saying, that's kind of the issue. So
Yeah.
as long as they're upfront, we usually get it done.
And if you guys know that your client isn't planning on retiring, share that, and then we ask those questions. Okay, when are you planning to retire, because you have to look at their age too, like Matt mentioned, if they're retiring younger and they're not of age to take distribution, that's a different thing. So we gotta look at what our options are, but they don't even have to start the distributions before talking to us. We'll guide them and say, okay, this is what you want to qualify for. This is what we're gonna need per month. Set it up for this. That's a good thing. It's not like we have to show they're getting it for 6 months. We just have to show it's set up. So, good question.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sasha from Growth Insurance. I'll be brief. I saw the number of slides. It's long. I wanted to quickly piggyback on something that Todd brought up. That kind of illustrates the importance of working with a local independent insurance agent that knows what they're doing. A drip guard is something that will not be covered on a claim if you don't have what's called law and ordinance coverage, which is a very small little line item and not all policies have it. So it's one of those things when I'm reviewing a policy or issuing a policy, it's a very minimal cost, but it's something that really helps when you're on a claim needing something repaired to protect your house. So, yeah. Anyway.
Most of them will have it automatically, there's a few that don't. I don't know if you sell any that don't have.
So-
Allstate, you just have to ask for it, and Nationwide is the other one that actually you actually have to ask for
Yeah.
law ordinance put into the policy.
And there's some newer carriers where you do have to specifically add it, and then another thing is usually it's a percentage of your main dwelling coverage, so it'll be 1%, 5%, 10%. And you just have to kind of look at the whole picture of, do you need 1%? Do you need 5 or 10? So that's the service that I provide.
What's it
My
called?
clients.
Law ordinance.
Oh, law and ordinance.
Not law and order.
Not law and order, no. So anyhow, this is one of those things where we kind of help you understand what all of this stuff means. Not everybody knows.
So is that something if, let's say, because it was prior to 2014, I think you said, Glenn?
Well, what it is like, let's say that we go out there and we see that the roof has weather damage and the insurance company comes out. And if the roof doesn't have the, drip edge on it, or any other new codes that have gone into effect, most policies have what they call law and ordinance within the policy itself, meaning that the insurance company at that point is required to pay for the additional monies
Bring it
to
up.
bring it up.
And it's
to
not
code.
just roofs, it's
So they will pay for the
Electrical.
drip edge, even though you don't currently have it on the house.
Yeah. So like if your house runs down to the ground and you've got to have new plumbing, new wiring, new roof, all of those things have to be brought up to code from what they were previously without that coverage. That could be an extra 10, 20, 50, $100,000. Just an important little tidbit that I'd love to help walk you guys or your clients through. Right? Perfect, thank you.
So I know sometimes we forget to talk about all of the other wonderful partners that we have, and so we decided to start showcasing this on a regular basis, that to remember that we have some amazing, valuable partners that we are with all of the time at Quakerton. So if you don't know of who to call on a regular basis, please reach out to one of us to let us know who you need, and we're gonna put you in contact with them. And these are usually in our room on Zoom meetings as well.
So if you're one of those vendors, stand
Please
up.
stand up.
Stand up and say hi, so everybody can see who you are.
Legacy Leopard.
Legacy Livers, well, you know you love you and you are with
The roof butler.
Butler. So, and know that all of their contact information is on the back of your trading calendar that's up front at the front desk, also on the intranet. So if you're looking at the last minute of who I can call for a roof, or contract to close services, or an inspection, you can go onto the intranet or pop on the back of that training calendar, and all of their contact information is there. So I know we ask for a lot of referrals sometimes in our Facebook group, but we have amazing referral partners that are at your service.
Okay.
I am bold. Give me a theme, man, and I will run with it.
And speaking of amazing partners, again, I just want to say how great Susanna, the award-winning Susanna, is on for you going forward. David, on the pleasure. So show, yeah, we're gonna play a little exercise here real quick, so that we're kind of catching up on time. I'm so curious here, I'm gonna show all the different ways that we can lead generate in the forms of prospecting and marketing. I'm gonna take a look at the next two screens and just kind of track and keep tally of how many of these things you are doing for your business. Go ahead and hit screen number one. So this is the prospecting list from MREA. How many of these are you doing? And you don't have to say it out loud, but just do a quick mental tally. Oh, that's awesome. Page 138 of MREA, page 56 of SHIP, y'all have this? All right, everyone have their number? Okay, let's go to page 2. So this is prospecting, this is marketing.
I like the surprise faces.
Yeah, Bus Conventions is a huge business these days. All right, so I know that we've had a lot of people up here, but I just want you to get active. If you're doing at least, when we add the two screens together, at least one thing for your business, stand up.
At least one.
Yeah.
What's that?
All right, so keep standing, we're done, 2 or more. 3 or more. 4 or more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Okay, between the two of you, how many you got?
Yeah, all time.
Okay. That's all right, let's do that. All right, so I just said this because I really want you to stretch your legs, but the point I want to make here is that I was going through doing this reading of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Playbook. This thing's on Keller Inc. This is not one of those playbooks that was shared amongst all the different workbooks that we have. This is the actual like combination of them all. And I stumbled across the rule of 4. Is anyone familiar with the rule of 4 is? Excellent. I love it like that. The rule of 4 is this data that we have. Whenever Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, they go through and they do their mastermind of the top agents. And this is the same strategy they used when they wrote or read book, that Ray book. What we realize is that over 82% of top agents' business comes from just 4 lead sources. 82% of their business came from just 4 lead sources. So if you are standing, whenever I said, are you doing 4 or more? I want you to sit down, rethink your business, and actually start about thinking what we can do less. We really want to bring in your focus on what are the 4 things that we can do for lead generation. And inside the rule of 4, it actually has a pretty simple plan. If you get the next slide here, Luce. The rule of 4 breaks it down into what you want to do is sit down and think of what are all of the possible lead generation activities that you can do. Now, when I say that you can do, or what the book says you can do, it means the ones that you can do consistently, and then the ones that aren't painful necessarily, right? Like, I don't know about you, but like, I would hate to go door knocking, but I can phone call all day, every day. But the idea here is let's pick things that you can do to lead generate consistently all year. Then you're gonna pick 4 from that list of everything. And what we're gonna do is actually create a very specific and strategic plan around those. We're essentially creating a GPS. What is the play that I can implement every week? How many contacts can I call? How many FISBOs can I call? How many doors can I knock? How many social media ads can I post? Whatever it is for you, but we're gonna have a very specific strategic plan. And then simply each week, because we know that we love this world inside of this industry, it's just, hey, each week I need to select one of those 4 strategies and just run it. And then the last thing is we want to track your activities, because how on earth would we know that 82% of our business comes from 4 things if we don't know where our business comes from? So it's really important that we document and track that. But I was going through a lot of content this past week. I stumbled across this and it's just come up over and over and over again. And if you need help with that, be more than happy to meet with you to help you discover where those 4 things. I love to do a little exercise with my coaching clients called painless prospecting, in which we basically do this. We come up with a year worth of activities that are actually enjoyable for lead generation. Lead gen doesn't have to be that dirty word. It's gotta be something that you can actually implement. So I'd be more than happy to offer that up for a meeting for you all to get. But yeah,
And he does it in such a way where it is a joy to.
I mean, I was talking about it. It's like, let's go barbecuing is what we talked about. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I have to, but yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Morning, good morning, good morning. I'm gonna give myself purple today. Change.
I tell you, give me a finger, I will run.
There you go, there you go. How are you, Chad North?
Great.
My goodness, we got Chad North. Good morning. One of the things, and I could sit here and preach productivity coaching all day long, you know, and we can talk about real estate all day long. We've heard the sessions. However, one of the themes that we have going on in productivity coaching right now is going back to the basics, right? Are we doing the things that we need to be doing at a high level? Like Sam said, you know, how many sources of lead generation you have, right? And I stood, I think, up until 10 and said, okay, I'm done here, because you can combine a lot of those things and group them, but you really should excel at what you do best, whatever that is. You know, door knocking is your thing, go right ahead. That's how you're gonna do your business, right? With Casey in Northern Fact. If cold calling is your deal, you know, that's how you're gonna do your business. If your network
your databases, that's how you make your business, then excel at that, right? Keep it simple, don't overthink it. But one of the things that we've been talking about in PC, and by the way, being in PC, the average agent in PC is doing 25 to 30% more business than the average agent that is hired. And the engaged agent in PC is actually doing 50% more business than the average agent here in the office. So if you don't know what we're doing, ask your peers, ask people that are in PC what it is that's happening. But again, going back to the basics, I don't think we do a great job of communicating our value. And if everything, and this has nothing to do with what just happened with the NAR verdict or anything like that, because we've been communicating that for a long time, right? And we're really articulating the value. We're really indicating to the client what it is that we do. As a matter of fact, and this is the thing that we just to stay with the theme, are we being bold about articulating our value, right? We're really pushing it and saying, this is what I'm gonna be doing for you. So one of the things that I have here is, what do you think would be number one in establishing your value? How do you do that? You engage the client on what happens. Don't we establish and build trust? Isn't that the first thing that needs to happen? They need to know that we know. Isn't that the case? So how do we do that? By demonstrating knowledge, skill, and experience. How do we do that? Sticking to the basics, right? Come to the training, come to the contract classes, do the things that are the boring, if you think about it, which are gonna be the things that are gonna help you in your business, right? Number two, what are we supposed to do for these clients? That's a statement. Are we supposed to provide fiduciary representation? How do we do that? We represent the client's interest at all times. That's what we do first, right? That's what we all should be doing anyways, right? Sticking to the basics. Don't we provide more services? Don't we do the same thing for this client, for the next client, and the next client? Don't we do that all the time? The question is, are we doing it at a high level, right? Number four. And that, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, let me skip back to number three. So provide more services. Isn't that what we do? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? And then number four would be deliver client experience. And that is the how we do it. And I think that's where we excel as Keller Williams agents, right? This is how we deliver the four services that we're supposed to provide. And what else happens? They call it the surprise and delight, the extras that we provide. In other words, keep it simple. Do what you do, fine tune your craft. If you're lacking on contracts, take the contract classes. If you're lacking on your listing presentation, take a listing presentation class, right? If you're lacking on how to deal with buyers, right? Somebody was asking me the other day, do we have a class, for presenting multiple offers? That's what we do. It's just one of the little things that we do. There's not a standalone class on that, right? But anyways, it was like, okay, I need that. That was what the agent was telling me. I need to know how to present multiple offers properly. What is the best way to do it, right? So at the end of the day, that's it. Just stick to the basics, do what you do best, and make sure that we're telling them what we're doing for them. Don't go to closing and then get this comment, right? They look at the closing statement and they go, this wasn't so hard. Which means or translates into look at all the money you made and you didn't do anything for us, right? And so make sure you're articulating that out. That's what I have for you.
Are you bold?
I'm bold. Are you bold?
I'm bold, okay.
I'm gonna let you run with this one.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Yeah.
Okay, what we focus on expand. So so bold is coming, we've talked about bold a lot in the next couple of weeks, today is your bold day. Surprise. So we have a lot of exciting things going on today, a panel, you can win prizes. I'm gonna start by passing out these lovely forms. You've seen them before, it's the sign up form. And if you sign up today, you can pop one of these balloons over here that has some pretty awesome prizes inside. Right here, right there. it's cash, this is cash money private.
Do you want me to play the video from Cody? Cody sent us a personal video, y'all. So he's the Bold coach. And, let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay, I'm gonna, wait, y'all know I have to leave the thing. I'm gonna share the screen with the sound and talk to my and you know, and then we're gonna share, and now I'm here.
Hello, Chad North. Your Bold coach in Midtown to deliver Bold coming up
This next launch. I was just talking to Dina about this. I don't know that there's ever been a more important time to be in a Bold room than right now. With number one, I love this season of Bold, like that April, May season, because it truly runs you through doing what you need to do, 7 weeks of prescriptive action, to do the things that you might not want to do, that you know you need to do to get the things you said you wanted to have. I always like that going into the spring selling season. It tees me up for the summer. It tees me up to have the best year possible. That's still true this year. On top of that, of course, the change around the NAR commission. Not NAR commission, change from NAR around cooperative compensation and cooperative commission. Remember, this seeks to change a few key things. One of them is that commission becomes a conversation between the seller and the buyer, and the agents facilitate that process, and it becomes a conversation from agent to client, instead of the way we've done it before. When you think of it, this is actually going to be good for our industry. You either believe things are happening to you or happening to you.
With that being said, the fact that it's new, the fact that it's different, and the fact that you'll be in Bold during the time that we're preparing for this, we'll cover it every week. We'll cover the buyer listing contract. We'll cover the buyer representation agreement. We'll cover the buyer listing. We'll cover the conversation models. And I want you to just give yourself a little bit of grace. I've been in real estate for 23 years. I've built my expansion team today to sell in 28 states and almost 130 cities across the US. And when it comes to this conversation, I'm a rookie. When it comes to this piece, I'm a rookie because I haven't spent 23 years explaining it this way. I spent 23 years explaining it that way. So come be a rookie with me in Bold. We'll work on it together. Every week we'll spend time. Now, on top of that, Bold, of course, has been rewritten to be market of the moment. So the things that we'll be teaching in Bold this round, the cooperative compensation piece, that's going to become real static. The other stuff in Bold is very market of the moment. Do these things, capture business this way. Some of the things we'll be teaching probably didn't work a year or two ago and might not work a year or two from now. That's how market of the moment it is. The cooperative compensation stuff, that's going to become pretty static and probably for a very, very long time. Though as far as like the cadence or how often we communicate with our database or what do we send, what value pieces do we send to stay in communication, one of the challenges you and I have today is we have to communicate with our database more than ever, and we have to have a higher level of cadence. We have to have more value in such that while we're communicating more often and more stuff, they're not hitting the unsubscribe button. And so we got to give more value. We have to be better at what we do. Come work on it with me. Each week in Bold, we'll talk directly about your database, the size of your database. We'll track it together. We'll still spend 1 week on seller listings and best practices there, the best in class for right now. We'll also spend a week on buyer. We'll probably spend a little more time on buyer this time through Bold because there's so many changes on the buyer side, though it's just as important for my heavy listing agents. My heavy listing agents, you're going to have to prepare the seller about the buyer side and how this looks and goes. You got to be in this round of Bold. Come check it out. If you're ready to go, sign up like so many already have for steps 2 through 7, the whole thing. If you just want to come for step 1 and get a chance to meet, I'm okay with that. Come and make a decision there if you'd like to. I believe you'll walk out of that room and you'll know what to do. I also believe it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. And for me, doing the activity and doing the workout, because Bold is like a workout, sometimes I dread it. Sometimes I don't look forward to it. And I always feel better once I get started. I'm Cody Gibson. I can't wait to see you there. See you then.
I think it's the best time to sign up for Bold.
It is the best time.
More than any other time in history of being an agent, I think now's the time to sign up for Bold.
We're all rookies together when it comes to this platform. I love how you said that, right?
let's learn and walk through this together as a team and as a group and with our peers. And figure out and navigate it together. Do you wanna say anything about bold?
I'll share something about
I
it.
would love for you.
Hi, I'm Aubrey and I'm bold.
Yeah.
Don't even hold. This was a little while back, but I was at a place in my career where, I bit off more than I could chew. I had expanded my lifestyle and the market had changed a little bit. And made commitments and I was having trouble keeping up with, and I drew a line in the sand. I said, something has to change. And I actually drove once a week to Tennessee to go to Bold for 7 weeks. And I took 22 listings in 30 days and 44 over the course of 90 days. It broke every single system I've ever had. I didn't sleep at night. My admin at the time had a life-changing event and couldn't work for me anymore. She had to move. So what did I do? I stayed up late every night. I actually recorded a video of how to do everything I was doing. Like entering a listing, I recorded it. Signing a lockbox, I recorded it. Like put it in a folder. I was like, if I ever have an admin leave again, I have a video of everything. It's not cheap, you know? But it changed my life. Like it really did. If anything, go to the first step. I don't like I stand up here and talking about Bold. You guys realize I get nothing. I'm speaking from my heart for the change. Go to step one. It's free. And if it's something you need right now, then do it. You know what I mean? I've been to Bold, I think, even before leadership, I think. I believe in it. Let's see you guys there.
I did the same thing. It completely changed my business. I think I'm 5 times bold now. And the first bold that I took in 2012 is very different from the bold that we're taking today because the market changes. The market changes for us every 30 days. But how we do business changes. Where our leads come from now are different than what they came from in the market in 2012. And that's why I continue to keep going to Bold and learning from other experts in the room that have been in the business for a while and what did I call it yesterday? I love the naivete because sometimes newer agents have so much success because they don't know all the things that could go wrong, right? So they go in and they get everything because the world is their oyster at that point. And so I love all of the things. I did the same thing that Aubrey did. I went back and I wrote down every single script, every single conversation that I had with buyers and sellers and put it together in a book so that I could train the agents on my team or the admin. I came up with a checklist and I taught that class not too long ago for everyone who got that checklist that came from when I went to Bold. So, we have a whole other panel of Bold graduates as well. So, first of all, here's the date. We backed it up a week because we're all gonna be on spring break next week, including me. So I'm glad that we're starting on April 10th and then we're gonna skip all the way to May 28th. And this QR code right here, this is everything Bold. Cody put together the most amazing website that has videos, information, and how to sign up. So if you wanna scan that QR code and sign up today, raise your hand, scream out, I am Bold, and I will give you a push pin to go pop one of these awesome balloons over here for maybe some fun prizes and maybe some cash. I don't know. So I've got cash to give away. So if anybody wants to sign up for Bold, do that. You can fill out your form, you can scan the QR code. As soon as you're finished, I want you to stand up and go, I am Bold.
I'm bold.
All right. All right, so James, Tanaya, Sam, do y'all want to come up?
I need that QR code, so we stand up and fan Bold.
Sure. Okay. I'll sit back. There you go, QR code. Everybody scan. Let me get the cheers today. I saw that on the video and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing your screen. So there we go. Make your faces. I can't wait for some balloons. I can't wait for you to pop the balloons. So if anybody's ready, fill out your form, let me know. So tell me about your experience with Bold. Sam, we'll start with you. Tell me, what is the biggest takeaway that you've had from it?
Yeah, so I sign up for Bold every chance I can take, every single time for step 2 in one particular exercise, which is the future self exercise. I get more out of that like 15 minutes than I do anything else the entire year. I'll try not to get emotional because every time I talk the story, it makes me emotional. The first time I took bold, well, let me walk through it. You go through this exercise basically to create this narrative in which you're supposed to meet your future self. So have a conversation with your future self. You talk about how great your life was in these experiences. The first time I did that, I didn't see myself because I didn't believe that I would live to be 60 or 65, whatever it was that far in advance. My dad died when he was 27. My grandfather died when he was 62. I did not believe that any Jackson would ever get to 65. That was tough. And I realized that mindset part of Bold has a lot to do with the training. We learn a lot of the skill set with this, but it'll make you a better person to come through it. The second time I took Bold, I actually had that conversation and it changed my life. Yeah, I'll never miss it for that reason. Sorry, laying that out. Yeah, I love Bold. Sign up. It'll change your life. Save mine. Yeah.
Tonight, what about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
Same thing, I would say that it's mindset, it's funny because you said it on there, it's like going to the gym. And I think of it the same way, but it's like going to the gym by yourself, you're gonna do so much and you're gonna get up one morning, you don't feel good and just skip it, right? But when you have a trainer meeting you at the gym, you're gonna show up, you're gonna work harder, you're gonna push yourself harder, you're gonna show up on the stage, you want to show up. And that's how I feel, that's what Bold does for me, right? Because I've challenged myself, I've gone through Bold several times, you get the book, you can do it on your own. And I've challenged myself to do it on my own, and my business shows up. But I realize that when I go to Bold and I'm showing up with my teammates, my business is that much better. So that's how I look at it. And same thing, we just got our letters back from the last Bold that I went to. And so when I write that letter, I do it kind of a year ahead, right? So I tell myself what I think I'm gonna accomplish. And it's amazing, it's like when you don't go to Bold, you don't accomplish as much, right, in that letter. But when you do go to Bold, like I read through it, and I'm always excited to share it with my husband because he doesn't know that we do this, right? And he's like, what are you reading? I'm like, my Bold letter. And I get to go through like all those things and I'm proud of myself to see what I accomplished. Last time, I was just checking it off. And one of the things on there was a Tesla. And I didn't have my Tesla when I read it. I'm kind of like disappointed in myself. But my Tesla on order got it on Friday. Because you tell yourself what you want to accomplish and believe it or not, just speaking it into existence and writing it down. That's what I get.
Yeah, for me, it's helped me tremendously in my business. A lot of my business comes from my database, and then also I do a lot of expires. And so one thing with the expires, it's tough making those calls and getting started making those calls. And then once you get started making the calls, sometimes when you hear the no so many times, it's tough getting past that part. So going to Bold helped me reframe how I look at those rejections and how I look at getting started calling in expires. Even with my database, somebody who I have not talked to in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, it helped me reframe how I approach that conversation. So it's helped me tremendously because I've been able to connect and reconnect with a lot of people in different ways that I would not have been able to connect with before.
I love that you said that. And for someone that's saying, oh, hey, I've done both before, I've been there, done that, it's all good. I don't have to go again. What would you say?
Oh, I would say go, every time I go, I learn something. I always learn something new. And then even to be around people who are experiencing some of the same things that I'm experiencing and seeing how those roadblocks, they're still going forward and taking action. It helps me in what I do, and just, even though I have this roadblock, still take action to get past it.
What is that saying? No, I'm gonna screw it up. No man enters the same river twice. What is that thing?
The river is never.
Because the river's never the same, and the man is never the same, or the person is never the same, right? So could it be true that going to Bold another time could be that you're ready to receive it in a different way because your circumstances and your environment and your situation is just different, right? Okay. Anything else that you guys would like to add?
It's not a cult.
So I think there's a lot of perception that inside of KW, and then specifically when you go inside this microcosm that's full, and you're like, I have to do affirmations, like, it seems otherworldly, but it's really not that weird. It really will put you in the right mindset, so you can learn those skills to go live the life you desire. Like, we have all these excuses, but we'll break this down for you.
That's good, that's good. Thank you, guys.
Do you guys say anything?
Yeah.
So I'm a very calculated person, you know, tracking everything that you do, and so when I go to Bolt, I don't like spending $800 for Bolt. I've always said that from the time I've been asked to do it, I'll look them what. So I have to make myself keep track of the business that I get, right, and pay attention to what deal do I feel that I would not have gotten had I not gone to Bolt, right? And so there's always a deal that's somewhere between $12,000 to $15,000 in commission that I can earmark and check and say, I got that because of $800. So that's something to think about. Every time I've gone to Bolt, it always happens.
Wow. And Gary Keller says we should find a 4-time return on our investment. And I would say 12 to 15,000 is maybe a little more than 4 times. So.
It's alchemy at that point.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you guys
Yeah,
for
thank you.
sharing. Thank you so much.
Any signs up yet? We've got,
Okay, go pop a bubble.
Go pop a
bubble.
balloon. There's cash, there's, scholarship opportunities, there's discounts on things. No, yeah, don't.
Oh, I thought you were
Hey.
Oh.
What'd you get?
A piece of paper.
Oh, you got $5.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, that means there's other ones there that are better.
That was a different size job, so there's a lot of different.
Go for it. That's right. That's right. Okay.
All right,
Aubrey, you are up.
Cool.
I'm gonna give you the clicker.
Okay, so this thing happened last Friday, you might have heard about it. To the tune of $418 million, right? And all this commotion has been happening. I was literally in an Uber ride a couple days ago, not, like, the guy didn't know I was in real estate. And he was just talking about housing. It was kind of funny to hear, like, just general, public's perspective on it. And he's like, yeah, he's like, apparently, house prices are gonna get more affordable. We don't have to pay commission anymore. I'm excited. I'm like, talking about that. And there was a settlement. I was like, you want a house? He's like, no. I'm like, this area, we think it's sold for. He's like, probably around 400. I was like, okay, so if you owned a home right now and you're gonna sell it and you didn't have to pay a commission anymore, would you lower your price by $12,000 or would you keep that money? He's like, we gotta keep the money. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, and a lot of buyers, they save for a long time to buy a house. And if let's say it was a VA buyer, do you know they're not even allowed to pay for term life on them? Like, what would you do if they wanted to buy your house but they couldn't? It's like, why tell them to come up with their own down payment? It's like, what if they couldn't? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, you probably do what most sellers do, negotiate a way to make it make sense for you. Because if somebody's having to come up with the down payment, and one house is offering it and one's not, what price do you think they're gonna offer for your house if they're having to come up with a down payment? More or less? He's like, you're in real estate, aren't you? Yeah. But that makes sense. He's like, that completely makes sense. Like, I get it. And I explained, like, what's changed is really not much. All that's changed is how it's displayed in the MLS. The lawsuit didn't say that commissions are going away. It just, sellers will still be offering compensation. It's always been a negotiation. It's just been displayed on the MLS and set up front. That's the only difference, right? So today we're gonna talk about elevating your value side proposition. You're gonna lead today with specific steps, like exactly how you walk in a room, sit down with a buyer, and they're like, if that seller doesn't pay it, I will. If we get to that today, would that be a good use of our time? Yes or yes? Okay, all right, good. All right, so,
Yeah, that's why, there we go. Now it will work. now.
okay, so these are the things we're gonna go through. We're gonna explain the proposed changes. I spent forever on this. Who was on the call earlier this week? Was that this week? Last week? Yeah, about a third of us in the room. I'm gonna go over that in the shortened 60-second version, okay?
And if you need more of it, call me, okay? We don't need to spend a lot of time on that, because I want to get to the meat and potatoes of today, which is helping you protect your buyer's agent's commission. And that's the biggest fear we all have is like, I'm in this industry, do I need to go find another job? No, you don't, you're good, right? So we'll leave today knowing that. We're gonna go through, how buyers agent bring value in the marketplace. We're gonna walk through a value-based buyer consultation. I'm gonna show you one, the one I did for many, many years. And the one my team still does today. We're gonna create your unique value propositions. I'm gonna give you a few, one of which wasn't on the slides before. We're gonna talk about them, because we'll actually have more time to talk about them today. And objection handlers. We didn't cover that on that call either. We're gonna go through some objection handlers, the things that are in the mind of the consumers, okay? Sound good? We do that, we're in good shape?
Yep.
Okay, all right, let's jump in. All right, feel free to scan this if you want. I'll give you a copy of the slides. Grab that. I didn't put that at the end. I will, you guys have a copy of the slides, but maybe download them if you can, yeah, and have Vanessa or Jessica send out all the slides. That way everybody can get a copy of them later. But if you send that, you'll definitely get them, because I'll log in tonight or tomorrow, I'll send them out to you, okay? All right, okay, got it? See most of them down now, so you got it. Okay, good. Okay, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Somebody say that differently for me. What does that mean in English? It rhymes, so it's gotta be true, right? What does that mean? Talking, so if you're explaining it to your 5-year-old, what would you say?
Your mindset matters.
Your mindset matters. Yeah, that's a great way to say it. Yeah. Who else? Take a stab at it. How would you explain it? You're talking to a kid. How would you explain it to your kid?
I would tell them that look at it from the other person's point of view of how they're seeing it, and then, try to explain it that way, and that way you can understand what they're thinking, and then they can understand you better.
Absolutely, yeah. Put yourself there. So sure, it can mean that too.
Put yourself.
Yeah, definitely. It can be taken a lot of different ways, right? And what I'll tell you is there's opportunity in absolutely every difficulty. There's opportunity in this. I actually think some really good things are gonna come out of this. We look at COVID, right? We all got locked in our houses for a while. We're like, this is awful. We're in an industry that loves talking with people. We got locked in our house. It's terrible, right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, what good came out of this? Well, I know now, when we're hungry, my wife just swipes right and food shows up from pretty much any restaurant or grocery store. I'm like, that's convenient. There's good things that happen out of all this. There will be good things that happen out of this, right? So I don't think there's really a place for fear. What there should be today is a place for excitement, a place for opportunity, and a place for you to look for ways that you can navigate this to make things better, okay? All right, so 1985, I showed a slide similar to this on our call last week. This was, if you wanted to see a house, you had to talk to a real estate agent. They had these archaic books, right, that came out once or twice a month. You had to talk to an agent. And then in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, everything went online. All the buyers' agents were freaking out. They were in a room like this, having a meeting just like this today. And all the agents were like, they won't need us anymore. They can go straight to the sellers. You know what I mean? And they'll be able to save money. Sound familiar? What actually happened? Nothing. This is the biggest financial investment of someone's life. And there's so many moving parts. Could they go hire their own home inspector and their own attorney to write documents and call each agent individually and blah, blah? Yes, right? They could, and they don't. Why? Complicated. Very complicated, and they need one professional that understands it back and forth to walk them through it, right? This is a big decision for them. They want someone on their side that's putting those pieces together. Guess who that person is? It's you in this room right now. They need you. They will continue to need you. The real estate buyers agent market didn't crash in the 80s, right? Well, the interest rates went high, right? But it didn't change in the early 2000s. Buyers agency didn't go away in the early 2000s. People actually use us more because they realize how complicated it is, right? Okay. All right, so proposed changes, again, I'm only gonna spend about 2 slides on this. We're not gonna talk a lot about it. Hasn't been approved yet. Business still goes on as usual. You take a listing this weekend, you are still using the same listing agreement, what commission is being offered, the total commission taken, how much of that you're given, all that's staying the same for right now. These are proposed changes. Are most attorneys, don't listen to all the hype on social media and don't let yourself fall down that tunnel, right? Listen to attorneys that understand how to interpret law. Most of them are saying most of the changes are probably gonna stick the way they are, but there's some things, like I mentioned a second ago, they're gonna have to figure out, like VA, how are they gonna fix that, right? They're gonna have to figure that out. Okay, here are the changes. This is really the only slide I have on this.
It says, you now must use a buyer representation agreement before showing a home. But somebody's not gonna wanna sign an agreement with me before looking at the home. You can get it signed in a driveway, right? And I'm gonna show you today how you can get that signed. You must disclose the amount or rate of compensation you'll get. So up front, you're gonna put in there, this is how much I will be compensated for my time, right? It also says it can't be open-ended. A lot of agents are like, well, I'll just put in there where it says compensation, whatever the seller's gonna pay. Hey, problem solved. Like, no, can't do that. You can't receive compensations for more than what you agreed to. So if you wrote down blank percent or blank amount of money, where do we often see bonuses in this industry? New construction. The way it's written right now, that may not be able to happen, right? Okay, cooperative compensation can no longer be advertised in MLS. You could actually, if you took a listing, you can send an email blast out, text message, phone call, flyers. You can have a separate website that shows the commission. You just can't say it in the MLS, okay? The next one is sellers can still offer concession to the buyers, so they can still pay it. They can still say the seller's willing to pay $15,000 in concessions for the buyer, right? You guys realize right now, closing costs, just change that word with concessions is what they're looking for, okay? So right now, closing costs can be used for what? Most, they do dictate it, but one of them is you're right, but one of them is commissions. You realize that? Most people don't realize that. It can be used for commissions now, right? Yeah, Joe.
The hour and a half yesterday, it went in and went out a lot, so there was, it's the ability to say, that you're offering cooperative compensation, not the word commission. Can that be put in the private remarks, public remarks?
Public remarks.
It can't be put in the public remarks.
Yeah, it'll be in the public remarks. Yes.
All right.
The way it's written right now. All right, last one is agent. This isn't new. Agents must disclose in their every agreement that commission is negotiable. It's always been negotiable, right? It's always been negotiable. That's not new. So this is the outline. You're looking for a one pager or what happened. This is it, okay? Now, a lot of agents, is this a PDF or is this actual slides? It didn't bring in any of the animations. It's okay. So there was the lawyer, the actual attorney that started this case, right? And ultimately won this case. This is what they said. They said, agents are talking about, we'll get creative. We'll just put the commission in showing time, or it'll go in Zillow or whatever else, right? No, can't do that. They will shut that down. They also said that we can't have a site, like I know we've been talking about, well, maybe we'll do it in KWLS. Or you guys know what Keller Williams listing service is, right? It can't show it could show it for ours, all the Keller Williams offices, but it can't show it for other brokerages. They will shut it down, right? That's something you may not have heard yet, because that just came out yesterday, that article from that attorney. I thought you might want to hear that. So what does this do for you? It creates more work. You're gonna meet the buyer, get a buyer brokerage sign, and you're gonna sign an agreement, and you're gonna pick a property, you're gonna go see together, right? And then you're gonna have to hop to another website or make a phone call to find out what the compensation is. It's just one more hoop to jump through, okay? All right, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because we've already talked about that. You'll hear more about that in the future. So how to explain the proposed changes? A curious homeowner says, tell me about this lawsuit I'm hearing about in the news. I hear sellers don't have to pay commissions anymore. That's what they think right now. That's what they think. This is what you think. Thanks so much for asking. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Commission has always been negotiable and is not going away. If approved, what's changing is how the compensation is being displayed in the MLS. Sellers will still offer and negotiate compensation for buyers to be used in many ways. Right. Closing costs, commission, whatever they need to use it for, just as they always have. Let's walk that together, shall we? And you need to be able to have a conversation about it. Does that make sense? Right? That's what it is, right? Okay, so this is how to explain the proposed changes. So somebody says, well, tell me about that. How's that work? You say, think back to when you were buying a home. You had got excited about the home you want to buy. You had worked hard, right? You probably saved up enough down payment, but most people don't have the money for their down payment plus the commission. Right? So let's say there were two houses on the street. There were two $400,000 houses. One was offering the commission for the buyer, right? And one was not. Which house do you think that buyer, if they didn't have the down payment, would probably want to make an offer on first? The one paying it. And if they were to make one on one that's not paying it and they're having to come up with extra money, do you think they're going to offer the same amount of money or less for that house? Less. Let's just use logic for a second. So what ultimately is going to happen is sellers right now are like, oh, we want to pay as much commission. And when they actually get into the process and start getting offers, they're gonna realize most all buyers need help with that commission, right? They're gonna ask for compensation. Well, will it just come straight to me? Likely not. Just like in the early 2000s, people need representation, the biggest financial investment in their life. And if they're going to a house without representation, knowing that person not having to pay compensation, what do you think they're gonna offer for that home? The same as the one that is or less? Just like they do for for sale by owners right now. Do you see what I mean? There's like, we're worried about something that really is already going on. It's just all it's changing is where it's being displayed. That's what's happening for us, okay? So, all right. So buyers agent value in the marketplace. This is what we're gonna get into some more content to help you today. I don't know why the animations didn't come in. I had like going in line by line. Yeah.
I converted it to Canva, so it could be inside of our slide.
Gotcha. No worries, no worries, no worries. It'll get busy is the reason I'm saying that on the slides when it all pops up at once. But it's okay, don't worry. We'll work through it. We got this. We're good. We're good. Okay. This is a quote from Jim Rohn. Who's ever heard of Jim Rohn? You guys know who Jim Rohn is? I look at him on YouTube. He has a lot of great stuff. He said, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. What does that mean? Let me explain that. What does that mean? Think for a second. Go back to your very first job. Somebody say out loud, what did you get paid per hour at your first job?
$8, $3.
Right? Not a lot, right? Not a lot. And at that time, would that employer have paid you $30 or $40 or $50 an hour? No, why? You didn't have the knowledge, the expertise, and the training to command that value. You get paid directly for the value you bring to the marketplace. And as you go through your career, you get paid more money because you bring more value. So this really is a value conversation. That's what I'm covering today. So this is another one for Jim. He said, work harder on yourself when you do your job. Work harder on yourself. Like what are a lot of agents don't know the difference between a warranty deed, a security deed, or an easement. Like they don't know. We have got to be professionals. We do need to understand what this stuff is and be problem solvers for our clients. We need to work on ourselves and improve our skills, okay? All right, so are all agents created equal?
No.
No. Are there some agents that should leave this business?
Yeah.
With or without commission lawsuit? Yes, like they should be gone, right? There's some bad, and maybe it's just me. You ever worked with an agent where you did all the work? They were unresponsive and difficult and actually got in the way more than they did. Like, are we trying to make this sale happen? You know, let's work together, right? Okay, what determines the amount of money an agent's time is worth? Client and who else? Because they may say, I'm only willing, this ever happened to you? You go to a listing agreement, they say, I'm only willing to pay whatever for your side. And you're like, well, I charge this. Sometimes you may not want to take that listing, and that's okay. There are people that are out there that charge less, and they should. Right? Yeah. And when that house doesn't sell, call me, right? Okay, all right. How could you raise the value of your client's eyes? What'd you do?
Well, the presentation and showing them what you're gonna accomplish and explaining the steps it's gonna go through will help raise value to realize the scope of what has to be done.
Joe, exactly. The last thing you should talk about in a consultation is what? The commission, the price, yourself, right? But the price, you don't, because if they don't know the value you bring, and the first thing you talk about is the price, they're gonna fight you on the price, right? But if you go through the consultation and show them what you're doing for them and ask great questions, at the end of it, them signing that agreement is a byproduct because they've already seen the value. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. So what separates you from all the agents, we're gonna come back to that in a second. You need to know, why are you unique? There's a lot of people that have the real estate license. Why should they choose you? And it cannot be, I give great customer service and I'm responsive. Because everybody's gonna say that. It needs to be different, okay? What's your unique value proposition? What would you need to say in a buyer's consultation such that they would happily agree to pay your commission if the seller won't? That's what we're gonna cover today. We're gonna go into that. Okay, so value-based buyer consultation. All right, so question for you, what do you do before a listing consultation to make getting a listing easier? Think about it, what do a lot of really good agents do before they go on a listing agreement? Yeah, they send things ahead of time, questionnaire, maybe, right? Or what's the packet called? Might be a pre-listing packet. What might go into that pre-listing packet?
Marketing, CMA.
Sure, yeah, market analysis, maybe some insights, yeah, what else? Testimonials from other clients, why would that be important?
Your value and how you brought that
Absolutely.
Their homework, they
Yeah,
have.
some homework, yeah, some stuff to prepare
Yeah.
right ahead of time, right? Absolutely, yeah, all good answers. Couldn't we have the same thing with buyer's consultation? Shouldn't we have the same thing as, here's the reality of it for forever. What we've done is we've done the listing side really well. Get a consultation set up, we polished everything up, we've been through it a bunch. We're asking somebody who may not know us very well to sign the listing agreement at the end, agreeing to pay us whatever that amount of money is. They may have met us that morning, right? We may have even been referred from somebody, but they're agreeing to sign a document. Can we do the same thing on the buyer end? Go through a consultation, show them the value, and again, get a commitment, just like we do the sellers, to pay X amount of dollars. And the good news is, most sellers will happily contribute to pay it. Where your listings, if you're taking a listing agreement, they're paying all of it. You see what I mean? If we do this the right way, our minds are at the right way, I'm like, okay, no big deal, I can do that. So what's a buyer version of that? We talked about it. So this is, I'm gonna show you some real examples. Feel free to take a picture of it. We'll also send out slides. I'm gonna show you real examples right now. So if you haven't been paying attention, listen up. This is the part you're gonna pay attention to, okay? All right, so this is a questionnaire Andy and Leslie, this is one they've used for forever. And it asks questions like, sure, their name and everything else. What's your preferred method of communication? That's a good question to know, right? What's the best time of day to contact you? Again, important to know. Their current address, great information. What's another one? Okay, what else they have on here? It says, have you bought a home before? This is your first time, right? What's your idea of a great realtor? Why would that be important?
Make sure that meet their expectations.
They're telling you how to sell them. They're telling you what they want. I can see you said it was important to blank. Here's how I do that, right? Otherwise, we may be talking about things they can care less about. Okay, it says, is there anybody else who will be involved in your decision? Have you ever been on an appointment and only one of the spouses were there and they're like, well, I need to get back to you? Have you ever sat in a circle and you tell somebody something, they tell somebody something, and it gets around, it comes back and it's like not even near the same thing? Wouldn't it be important to know if there's another decision maker? Let's set up a time where we can all be in the room, right? So I want you to put your buyer, this is the buyer side on this, right? Why are you moving? What's the ideal close date? How long have you been looking? What area of town do you want to be in? What would you consider to be a reasonable drive time to work? These are great questions. And then, of course, stuff about the property, what they're looking for. And that says, what are the 3 features your home must have, right? What else do we need to know about your search? And what are the features it cannot have? There's one other important part of this. It says, how did you hear about us? Please let us know who referred you so we can thank them, right? That'd be important to know too. Okay, so this might be, you have a call with somebody, they say, oh, I got your name from, Dina, and I know you helped her, and I hear, I hear you might be able to help us too, we'd love to meet you. You say, great, I'm looking forward to meeting with you too. And before we meet, I'm gonna send you a link. If you could fill it out, it helps me get to better understand you and find out what's important to you, because finding out what's important to you is important to me. Can you do that? Sam?
And being a client of Andy, when we first moved here, Andy had a conversation with us on the phone when we went through this. This wasn't just that he filled out the link. I think that's another value add too, is you can have this conversation, but build a system around doing this form, so you have this consistently. But I think a lot of times too, we hand off the contract, we hand off these things, don't have your clients fill this stuff out. Part of your value is to FaceTime with them.
Have a conversation. Yeah, prior to going to meet, but he did this on the phone, That's a great way to do it.
But he doesn't miss it, right? Because he is going through the form.
So important. Yeah, okay, all right. Here's one, this is from my own personal team, right? This is what we use right now. It's a buyer packet, and it's everything you want to need to know about, it walks you through the whole process front to back. And we paid somebody to put it together, I don't have a problem sending it out, happy to, but it walks them through this. So one of the unique value props they'll see before we even meet them is a love it or leave it program. It says if you don't love it, we want you to love the home. We're gonna work hard to find you the best home we can possibly find for you. We want you to love it, and if you don't, we will sell it for free, our side of the commission, for free within a year. Just call us. We might have you ask for, pay for photography or whatever else, but we'll sell our side for free for $1, right, or whatever we have to do. We're gonna have to change something on here. It says the home we sold for free, seller will pay a cooperating brokerage fee of 3%, and the next one, blah, 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 right? We may have to change some of this, but get creative on what you're doing, okay? So just like a listing, what would you send to a buyer ahead of time? You guys with me so far? Yes? Okay, all right. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna give you what I typically say in a buyer consultation and what the agents on my own team say in a buyer consultation. And some of this came from a guy named Coach Stout, by referral only. Some of it came from Brian Buffini. It's been years since I got all this. They are both wonderful coaching companies and are phenomenal people in the way they set this up. Here's what this looks like. So now you've had the conversation up front, you pre-qual them.
They've got your pre-buyer package, right? So they understand the whole process front to back, right? Now you're meeting with them in person. This is what you might say. I'm gonna give you an example of what I say. I want you in your mind, say, how can I put my own spin on that? How can I put that in my words, okay? All right, so I would start off and I might say, you know, Joe, you may have heard a lot of stuff about the real estate industry lately. And I'm curious, you know, in the news and in the, you know, online, everything else, what have you heard? And, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've heard that, you know, I don't have to pay, buyer's agents anymore, and that's gonna save me money.
Got it, Joe. By the time we're done today, you're gonna have a better, deeper understanding of exactly what's going on right now and how to buy a home in today's market. Fair enough?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't dig into that right then. Got it? That's what I would say. And we will, okay? Because
Down, write that down.
by the time,
I'll give you a meeting.
by the time we're done today, you'll have a better, deeper understanding of exactly what it takes to buy a home in today's market.
And we're getting all these slides as we stand, right?
Yes. Yes. And I'll say, Joe, my whole goal is for you to be so outrageously happy with the help I provide that you gladly introduce me to 2 people before I'm even done helping you buy this home. And here's why, Joe. Most agents are out there cold calling, door knocking, you know, marketing. Joe, I want to spend my time focusing on you. And I know when I spend my time focusing on you, you'll have a great experience. And when I do a good job, you will feel comfortable introducing me to other people. That's what you want me to do, right? Spend my time focusing on you?
Yeah.
Okay, great, right? So we're gonna go through this together. 3 choices. Joe, at the end of this, you're gonna have 3 choices, okay? You could choose to do it on your own. You could choose to do it with someone else, or you could decide to work with me because you feel that I'm your best option. You guys catch that? Right? Choose, decide. There's a very big difference in those words. You guys hear it? Decide means what? In Latin, it means to cut off. It means end. There is no other option, right? You're working with me. And people also like having choices, right? You're giving them choices. I also don't want you to spend your wheels for forever. They're either work with you or they're not, right? Wouldn't you rather know that up front than drive them around your car, tire kickers for 3 months, wasting time, you know, showing, you know, not being at home for dinner, wait, you know, answering phone calls on weekends, when you're on vacation, right? We'd better know that now, you know? Like, let's get the commitment now, okay?
What are you, say 3 choices again?
Yeah, here's the 3 choices. You could choose to do it on your own. You could choose to work with someone else. Or you could decide to work with me, because you believe I'm the best option to help you in this journey. You got it? Yeah. Okay, all right, next one. Joe, I have 3 roles for you, 3 roles for you. First one is I'm a consultant, that's what we're doing today. I'm gonna take the time to ask some questions that some other agents may not ask, because as I mentioned on the phone, finding out what's important to you is important to me. It's not just gonna be bedrooms and bathrooms and area. I'm gonna dig a little deeper, because I want you to make the best decision you can possibly make for you and your family in your future, okay? All right, my second goal is I'm your negotiator, okay? When it comes time to negotiate your money, I'm gonna treat it like it's my own, right? I'm gonna negotiate the best deal I can possibly negotiate for you. You guys got that? When it comes time to negotiate, I'm gonna treat your money like it's my own, okay? And what you'll find is my negotiation skills alone are worth what you may or may not have to pay, okay? You have to mean that, that has to be true. If you're not good at negotiations, take some classes. This is where working on yourself comes in, all right? And, Joe, my third role is I'm your guide. And pay attention to this, this is really important, this is one of your big value props, okay? Joe, I'm your guide. In every real estate transaction, there's over 100 pieces of paper, every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed. And missing one of those could cost you the earnest money or cost the house. Is that true, guys? Yeah. Think about all the documents we have to sign, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes through this, right? And we look through them, we're protected, okay? All right, and Joe, I want you to think about this like, I'll say it one more time. Joe, I want you to, so I'm your guide in this, right? In every real estate transaction, there's over 100 pieces of paper, every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed. And missing one thing, making one mistake could cost you your earnest money or the house. Now they're feeling, that's called negative future, they're feeling what could go wrong, and you're starting to see was their solution, because that's one of your roles. Make sense? All right, now this one, when you guys, I didn't want to show Joe's stumps because, just Google this, 88 types of turbulence. When you get home, look up 88 types of turbulence, you'll see the list. I wouldn't feel right sharing his on here, I paid for it, like I was a coaching client for many years. But this is what this looks like.
The 83 or 88?
It's 88, this person did their own spin on it. This person said 83, they were creative, you know? So, all right, so I'm gonna say, Joe, I want you to think of this like a plane ride, okay? And I'm your pilot. And every pilot, before they take off, what do? Even if they've flown hundreds of times, what do? They have a checklist they go through. They have flown thousands of times and they go through all the checklists. Why? Because safety, you make a mistake up in the air and it's disaster. The same disaster could happen to your financial investment if protections aren't made. So I have the same checklist that I go through to make sure we don't miss a single thing. Is protecting you in this transaction and making sure that things go, we're gonna take off. We may hit a little turbulence in the air, right? Some unexpected things may pop up, right? Just like when you're hopping on a plane, but my goal is to get you there safely. We land, you look back, you say, I'm so glad that he was my pilot or she was my pilot, right? And Joe, this is where you have a little fun with it. This is where you can Google the 88 types turbulence. I would say, Joe, I may call you and here's a list of all the turbulence things that can pop up. And I hand them a list of 83 or 88 or 74, or whatever number you have, right? I hand it to him. I say, Joe, I may call you 3 days before closing. I say, Joe, number 41 popped up. You're gonna be like, Aubrey, it's number 41. I'm gonna say, Joe, the seller, and we scroll through the list. He's looking at it, like I'm literally handing him the list. He's looking at it. And it says, seller left town without giving anyone power of attorney. Right? And then what I would say is, I'd say, Joe, it's okay, everything's gonna be fine. Here's what I did. I had the attorney email over the documents. They're printing them up right now at the little store, right? They're getting notarized at the UPS store. They're overnighting them back so we can close on time. Because Joe, I know you have your full house packed up and you got a domino closing and you need this to happen all the time that day, right? What do you think he'd say right then?
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, he'd say, thank you, right? He'd say, thank you so much, right? And what you're doing, people are visual, right? People learn different ways. Some people can hear auditory, some people learn more visual, you're doing both. So you're literally handing a real list of all the things that we as agents look out for on our client's behalf. This is how you show your value. These are things, how many homes, aside from investors, how many homes do most people buy or sell in their lifetime? Yeah, 2, 3, 5, not many, right? And does the real estate market change? All the time, every year. You are a professional in this field, you're looking out for them. All right, you guys got that so far? Okay, so then I would jump into finding more about what they're looking for. I pull out that questionnaire they filled out up front. We talk about the different areas they're looking in. I dig a little deeper. And here's one thing I would do, and I won't necessarily do it today. I'm gonna give you a shorter version of it because of time, get to get out of here, right? Go 3D on why that's important to them. Let me give you an example. Joe might say to me, he might say, I want to live in the, Johns Creek area. I want to be in the Johns Creek High School District. Most agents would say, great. What price range? How many bedrooms and baths? Do you need a basement, right? How big of a yard do you want? Pause there for a second and go 3D and say, Joe, why did you mention Johns Creek High School? Great high school. Why is that important to you? Okay. And he'd probably say, well, I've got kids and I want them to go to a good school. Okay, most agents say, great, that makes sense. It's a good school. No. Go 3D. Say, Joe, what's important to you about your kids going to that good school? He'd probably say, the education. So I set them up for success and get to the schools they want, right? I say, Joe, what is that? What's important about that to you? What does that ultimately do for your kids? 3D. He'd say, it sets them up to succeed in life. I grew up in a household, my family fought over money. My parents ultimately got divorced over it. And I want to have my kids, I want to set them up to have a different life than I did. Do you see the power in that? Pause for a second, let that soak in. Now, you've gone a little deeper. Here's why that's important. When you get to a point where you're negotiating, and let's say, has it ever happened to you? It's like $1,000 apart. And and you're like, why would they just do the deal? You have to be careful when you do this, but this is how I do it. I'd say, Joe, I got the counter offer back from the sellers, and we bounced back and forth a couple times. And listen, Joe, I'm here with you. We can tell them to go pound sand if we want to. We can hop back in the car. We can go look for some more properties. I'm with you, right? Here's what the final counter was. They're $1,000 apart. Okay, so we have a choice. We can either jump back in the car, go look for something else, right? Or we can go ahead and accept this offer, get in the home, get your kids to school they need, and set up there. It's up to you, Joe. What do you want to do? I'm going to be either way. That brings them back into reality. Do you see what I mean? It pulls the emotional side out of it and brings them back to why they're doing it. So go 3D. You guys catch that? Mm-hmm. I did that every time, and you learn so much about what's important to your clients. Okay. All right. So creating your unique value proposition. We go through the whole, bedrooms, bathrooms, and all that as well, after finding out what's important to you. One thing I always ask, if you say, I've got to have a 3-car garage. I say, okay, Joe, everything else was perfect about that home. But it had a 2-car garage. It had the basement you needed, the school district you wanted, the yard you wanted, floor plan was perfect, but you had 2-car garage. Is that a must? Is that a deal breaker? Or would you still consider the home? And a lot of times they'll be like, well, if everything else was perfect, I'd do it. This is where you get away from that buyers or liars part. Because they'll tell you something that you think is the whole truth, but in reality, they're like, that's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it is important. So ask that question when you're getting, going through the features they want in the home. Okay, all right, here's where we get to the more important part. This is gonna pop up all of them at once rather than us gonna talk through them. And there's like, okay, it's not your fault, it's all good. I should have asked, that's all good. I'm good. Okay, so then I would say, hey, Joe, so we've gone through everything I'm looking for. I found out what's important to you, right? We talk about everything I do throughout the entire transaction to help you make sure this goes smoothly, all the different pieces we pull together, right? To make it work. And Joe, I do something a little differently than most other agents. You hear that? Joe, I do something differently than most other agents. A lot of agents out there, right? First one is I specialize in finding off-market inventory. What I'm gonna do is based on what you shared with me, I'm gonna look at and identify 2 or 3 neighborhoods that I think might be a really good fit for you. I'll ask you to go drive through and make sure you feel the same way. And then I have 10 ways that I reach out to all the homeowners in that neighborhood to find out who might raise their hand and potentially sell a home. Right? These are properties you can't get in Zillow. They aren't gonna be in your pocket. These are off-market deals. Okay. In your mind as an agent, you're like, well, how do you do that? I have a class that I'll come back and teach called 10 Ways to Find Off-Market Listings. I did it in the Carolinas 2 weeks ago, and I asked all the agents in the room to please, I gave my cell phone, I said, send me a text when you're doing it. My phone has been blowing up with appointments they've had since then. So this is phenomenal, right? And this does work and it doesn't cost much money, okay? So the first one is, I specialize in finding off-market inventory, all right? The second one is, I have an easy exit guarantee. Joe, I know we just met in this driveway at this house. And I know you realize the new rules with the commission lawsuit is we have to get an agreement signed before I can walk into this home. And Joe, I want you to feel comfortable signing this agreement with me. So what I have is an easy exit guarantee. And what it says is if you're ever unhappy with the help I'm providing, right, you give me a chance to fix it. If I can't fix it within 7 days, we cancel the agreement. Make sense? Now, in your mind, you're gonna be like, well, wait a second, if I work hard to show the properties and maybe they escape me out of the deal, there's a protection period. I'm gonna show you the verbiage. I got it approved by David Strauss last week. So I'll show you what I've always put in my agreements, right, to make them comfortable. And hundreds of times I've used this in listing agreements and in buyer agreements. I can't think of a single time I actually used it. Okay? All right. But it gets them comfortable to sign the agreement. And that's what you want, them to be comfortable signing it. They will sign it then if they know they can cancel it that afternoon. But look, I just need this signed so I can get you in the door. You want to see the house, right? You can cancel it tomorrow if you want to, you know? But the reality is once they sign it, they'll cancel it. You know, if you've done this the right way. Okay, third one, love it or leave it. Love it or leave it. Joe, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard to hopefully find you an off-market deal or one that is listed your way, right? And then you have my easy exit guarantees, so I'm making sure I'm working hard for you every single day, right? And third is if you get the home, you just don't like it, within a year, call me. I'll sell it, my time for free, right? I'll sell it for you. Okay, Joe, that's something, those are 3 things I do that other agents don't do, because I want you to feel like this is the best experience you could ever have. All right, Joe, I also specialize in helping certain types of buyers. I'm gonna make this up, but I might say, Joe, I know your whole family's veterans. I know you're a veteran. And I want to thank you for your time. My wife's family are all veterans as well, and she traveled every 2 or 3 years. She had to move. I know what you've done for your family, for this country, and I thank you for that, right? And Joe, I actually support veterans, so I want you to know as a result of this closing, I'm actually gonna donate some of the compensation I get to a cause that you're passionate about. So I want you to be able to feel comfortable knowing that you're gonna make a difference and with the group of people that you care a lot about when you work with me. Okay, Joe? Right? The other one is I have a really in-depth knowledge of the community in the area. Here's something else I'll do that other agents don't. I know you told me you like Wexford and Edenwald, and a lot of people are looking at both those names, similar neighborhoods, similar price range, right? And I do research on them. Here's what I found. This is where you might have to fast forward a little bit, but I give you an example like this, Joe. I'd say, Joe, I've analyzed the appreciation of those neighborhoods over the past few years, all right? And nobody can predict the future, yet here's what's happened interesting so far. Wexford has gone up 7.4% over the past 2 years, where Edenwald has gone up 12.8%. In the same market, in the same area, right next to each other. So what this is telling me is that Edenwald is a little more in demand than Wexford is. So although we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, if I was in your shoes and I was trying to decide between 2 neighborhoods, I might pick Edenwald. See what I mean? And Joe, I'll do that for you when we find houses. I'm gonna run some comps on the area. And guys, all you do is just do the CMA on 2 neighborhoods, go back 2 years and see how much the prices have gone up. Like 2021, what were the prices? See quick CMA. 22, what were the prices? Quick CMA. What's the difference between the 2? What percent is that? And then the other neighborhood, same thing. 2021, 2022, or 2022, 2023. Do you follow me? Right? Not hard, but that's something they wouldn't get or even know how to do on their own. And this is a big financial investment, right? You want to know that? Okay. And the last one, I didn't mention this on the call, is this came from another agent in our group. You know, I found this a couple of years ago. Joe, I actually have a unique way to zero your commission, right? And I have to charge you something in order to be able to represent you, so it might not be $1, right? But this is what that would look like. Joe, remember I told you my whole goal at the beginning is to be for you to be so outrageously happy that you introduce me gladly to people that you'd like me to help, right? Okay, if I'm doing a good job for you, when you introduce me to people, if they list their home with me, or they sign a buyer brokerage agreement with me, every single person that signs that agreement with me, I'll reduce what you may or may not potentially have to pay me by blank, okay? Now, you guys may be thinking, you can't do kickbacks. This is not a kickback. You're not handing them anything. You're reducing what they would owe you. Does that make sense? Do you see the difference? If someone gives you a referral, you can't hand them $500 or $1,000. But if you're working with them, you absolutely can reduce what they're paying you. Does that make sense?
So you have to get those referrals before you do the deal.
Yes, yes, yes. That'd be while we're working together. Imagine a world where every client you work with introduces you to 4 or 5 more people. Would that be a good way to do business? There you go. That last one's optional. I didn't do that one. I didn't have to do that one. I'm just giving you an option, okay? So what's yours? What's your, it can't be, if I work hard, right? I'll return your phone calls. I'm super nice and responsive. What is yours? So somebody give me one that you've seen or heard of or been thinking about that might, and you may not have one, but this is where I love hearing what ideas you have. What do you guys have? What didn't I mention? That'd be unique. Think about it. My homework for you is come up with your unique value proposition. Think about if I'm from here forward, if I'm gonna go on a buyer consultation and I'm gonna treat it like a listing appointment, what does the pre-call, like Sam had with Andy, what does that look like? What does my pre-buyer package look like that I'm gonna put together and send to people, right? What do I say on the appointment to show them the value, like the turbulence that we talk about, walking them through everything that I do, right? And then what's the unique value proposition that makes you different than everybody else? So they wouldn't even think about working with anybody else. And then when you're done with this, you say, Joe, I really enjoyed getting to know you today. I'm excited to help you and your family, get this home. And Joe, remember I told you at the beginning, you got 3 options. You can do it on your own. You could do it with someone else, or you could decide to work with me. Joe, which one is gonna be up to you? That's what happens. Every time. Why wouldn't he? He has a guarantee. You went through everything you did for him. You know what I mean? And he'll ask questions in between. He might be like, he might say, well, what happens, if the seller's not able that we can't negotiate the commission in the deal, And I'll tell him you have options. I don't know why I didn't think about this the other day. Remember I said that some lenders are finding a way to roll it into the loan, like they would allow them to, it wouldn't affect appraisal and stuff like that. I know they're working on that, and somebody came up to me. It was actually Kim James, who it was, and she said, "Yeah, I did that on a deal 6 months ago." I was like, "How?" And she's like, "Well, maybe it was a for-sale loan or something. I can't remember what it was." But she said, the lender can give credits. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
So let's say the rate is 6.5. The lender could make the rate 6.75, and they might go to give back $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 worth of credits. You see what I mean? Those credits can be used to pay buyer needs such as commission, problem solved. And some may be like, well, why would they up their rate? Okay, they have an option. They can pay $15,000 or they can pay $5 more a month. Which one do you think they're gonna go with? But if you did all of this stuff for them and worked hard for them, is your time worth $5 a month for them? Absolutely, you better be able to say yes, right? Or it's a different conversation. Does that make sense? Yeah.
We were contemplating a scenario yesterday, and this could even be a tool in order for you to win a deal, right?
Yeah.
Back in the pandemic, what happened? People said, I want the property. Why am I not getting the property? We'll offer more money. They're offering more money. Well, I'm offering more money. I'm still not getting the property. They're doing away with the diligence. They're doing away with these things. Can you imagine a scenario where multiple offers and the buyer says, how do I win this thing? How do I make my offer stand out? And the agent says, well, you could offer to pay the commission for the buyers.
But they're rolling in the loans, they're actually having to come up with it.
Exactly, right.
Great
And
idea.
that way, you're standing out in front of everybody.
Your offer just got $10,000, $15,000 stronger, right? Yeah, great tip. You see it? It's just a negotiation. It's been like this for commercial agents for years. You guys realize that. And CoStar doesn't, most of them don't list the commission. They have to call and then they negotiate it when they're negotiating the deal. Fine, right? Okay.
But that extra commission would have to be, the appraisal that you come in,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So if it's in the loan, they just up the interest rate. Interest rate has nothing to do with appraisal. You see what I mean?
Not anything at all.
Zero to do with the appraisal. If somebody's buying a $400,000 house and they say, I want to get my commission covered by my lender, and they're making their interest rate go from 6.5 to 6.75, they're still buying the house at 400. Their interest rate, that spread, the lender can pay back some concessions. They have a lender credit. Make sense? Nothing to do with appraisal.
We've
Which-
done it for lots of clients who need extra closing costs,
There you go.
they don't have the cash on hand. We're just doing the exact same thing we've been doing forever, just using it in a different way. The client, but
Yeah, so you do that way.
if interest rates go down next year, what happens?
Yeah, you have.
They refinance and save money.
Right, very good.
In the early eighties, when rates were at 16-17%, the way that sellers sold their listings were, I'm gonna buy the rate out for you.
Right,
I'm gonna offer you a subsidized rate.
yes.
So, yeah, they've been really doing this for years.
Yeah, deep breath, guys. This isn't that big of a deal. We just have to navigate it a little different. All right, we don't have time to go through all the commission objection handlers in here. You'll get a copy of these slides, we'll send them out. Like, this is the easy exit guarantee. So that's in there. Just this little sentence right here, the short one up top. The bottom is what the conversation is. It says what the conversation, how you talk with them about it, right? So that's the easy exit guarantee. I actually filled in the blank of what after the section of paragraph it is, the protection period. So they can't, and essentially it says that they can cancel at any time, but if you help locate a house, they owe you a commission, right? And it shall, if they cancel that agreement, they still owe the commission. That's what it said, for your seal of approval, okay? Got it? And then all these objection handlers, I put all these in here. I had to fun with them, you know?
Audrey, we're gonna do a workshop next week for all of this. So we're gonna do that next Thursday, I think it is at 1 o'clock. So we're gonna cover all the objections, what if scenarios, and all of that together.
Yeah, there you go. You go through those together. Now more than ever, what does the left side of that triangle say? That's what we should be focusing on. He or she that controls the listings, controls the market. The market. That's how you control your income without a doubt in this business, and you can work less time. Still work with buyers, still help buyers, and listings are leverage. Go get your listings. So, questions, Oz? What's something you're gonna put, okay, I came here, and I am so honored, it's something I'm grateful for, is being able to help agents. And what I love is not spending the time up here, it's the things I get later. So what I ask of you is when you're using some of these, or you come up with your own creative one, say, I'm sharing everything with you, I'm an open book, right? So share with me what you're doing. They're like, hey, what do you think about this? I'll bounce some ideas off you to help you perfect it. What's one thing you're gonna do with the result of our conversation today?
Fire questionnaire I have.
Yeah, fire questionnaire, great. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard it said this past week that if your buyer process is a 3-star, elevate it to a 4-star by doing one thing, like what he's talking about. If it's a 4-star, elevate it to a 5-star, and keep moving up the chain to 10-star process. So what is it that you need to do every single week or month to keep elevating your 5-star review process? So.
And I'm looking at, and Celeste upped her buyer's consultation after a class that we had. So putting together that consultation and having something to present to the client to show, having something physically there. We all need to meet with our clients ahead of time to set expectations. Because when people don't have a good experience, it's because we didn't set the right expectations throughout the process and they felt lost. So it's our job as their fiduciary to set them up for success. And that's all this is doing. We're just reiterating the same thing that we should have been doing this entire time, setting our buyers up for success and setting the expectations of what they should expect throughout. And they will not question these things. Give it six, like Mama Melba, Mama Melba, that's what. But something with that, at the Diana Costa event this weekend, and Mo was there getting interviewed, and Mo said, y'all, calm down and go back to work. Like, just stop. This is conversations that we have been having for a very long time. You're just now getting to see them over and over and over again. So what I would love for you to do is write these down, practice them, and deliver them at a high level, and your clients will not question giving you the commission. Because they know your value and they know your worth. And I've sat down with so many people in the last week and said, oh, this happened before. This has happened before. Oh, this person paid because I found an off-market listing and I wanted to be represented. So I totally fine with paying you 2%. They will do it. You don't be nervous about it, you master it, and you go out there and you serve your clients well, and they will pay you your value.
We'll dig more into this. I know we're gonna wrap up the team meeting. You saw Brian and Jamie, yeah, here this morning, Brewer. And, they have buyer consultation packets already printed, ready to go.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful. So if you didn't do anything out of today, if you're picking one thing to do, it might just be walk over, call them, email them, text them, and just grab one of those. Use that for a little bit. And as you're going through it with your buyers, maybe make notes later to how you want to make your own. Or at least do something. Start treating your buyers just like you do your sellers. We're gonna list buyers just like we list sellers. Okay? Was this helpful? You guys good?
Yes. All right, y'all know what's coming. Tomorrow, just like yesterday, we had, we streamed the open house yesterday where, we went over the verdict and preparing. Tomorrow, we have another session of. Today, just like yesterday, we are today, March 22nd. We'll be live streaming that here in the training room, so come hang out and listen and it's at 1 o'clock. 1 to 5. Last week, it was only about 2.5 hours. It wasn't the full 4 hours that they expected. So I probably plan on something like that again today. And then if you haven't signed up, come to Realtor Prom with me on April 12th. The reception starts at 6 p.m. banquet, and then just scan the QR code if you want to get dressed up and celebrate our successes together. And then, of course, we have book club and the new construction board. Don't go home. Oh, we've got a video. And I've already got everything set up today, because I'm sharing the screen.
We are here to tell you, you are powerful at every size. All bodies, as they are, beautiful.
All right, I gotta tell y'all this. You ever seen a giraffe, like their body? Does it look like a lion's body? When a lion is born and a giraffe is born, are they born with that body? When a lion is born, it's not a lion. When a lion is born, it's a what? It's a cub. You know what? Do you know what makes it look the way it looks? Does anybody know what makes it look that way? Yeah, he said growing, but not just growing. That's right. You grow up, but it just don't naturally happen like that. How does a lion look like that, but a giraffe don't look like that? You're chasing the food. So it is the process of hunting. It's not the actual meat that make him look like that. It is the actual hunts. It's the actual chasing. So whether he catch it or not, every time he goes on the hunts, he's developing. Some of y'all so caught up on the game that you don't get it. It is in practicing. It is in the installment. It is in lifting weights. It is in resting. It is in eating right. It is in making good decisions that you look a certain way. I tell dudes every time you see me, I'm almost 50 years old. You can look at my body and see, he kind of working out. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what he doing. I can tell my man ain't really committed to it like that. But I also can tell like he ain't just overeating, though. So I'm not really sure what he doing. Maybe a little cardio here and there. Might be doing some push-ups or something. Right? You can look at my body and tell. I walk in here, you can look at a linebacker and see who a linebacker is. Linebacker look different than a quarterback. Make sure you get what I just said. A quarterback doesn't look like a running back, and a wide receiver doesn't look like a DT. What's going on? It is how you practice. It is what you do that makes you look like you look. It is the process of the grind that shapes you and forms you. It's not the game. And that's why most of y'all get beat in the game or make mistakes in the game, because you think grinding is what happens when the sun comes out. You think grinding is what happens when the lights come on. You think grinding is what happens when people get in the stage. That's not grind. The real grind is in the dark when nobody sees you. When nobody knows what you're doing. When you studying without coach. When you putting in those extra reps. When you watching those videos and you getting inspired. When you change your music. It's the process that makes you sweet. Nobody knew who I was before LeBron said something about me in the Miami championship, the first one he won. Nobody knew about me until he said it. And then Sports Illustrated, nobody knew who I was. But can I tell y'all something? LeBron didn't blow me up. I started doing this when I was 19, 20 years old. What LeBron did was reveal my greatness to the world. He didn't form my greatness. When Mayweather did it, when Kobe did it, when the videos come out, do you know the Secret to Success video I did in 2006, got over 100 million video hits? I ain't had a video to get over 100 million hits since. That was just one video. I've done other videos. None have gone viral like that one. That video didn't blow me up. It's what I did in the dark that blew me up. So I leave you with this. It's the process. We're going to work on two things this year. Phenomenal skill and phenomenal will. And they're two different things. They're two different things. While we all connected, most of us got to sit back and watch. There's only one group of people that can make us look good. And that group of people is who? That group of people is who? Us. Good. Make your next move your best move. Thank you for your time.
Your best move. And Aubrey just gave you all of the moves. Go to study them, practice them, and make them next.
Right? I teach you. I get my necklace, my little crown on.
What did I do with my, I gotta find what I missed, I got one. My cover. I gotta find the cover. Let me go get another one. And some things.
Any questions? Yeah, you got it. He's got a big red ring, so he's gonna be a bear. Yeah. Probably just got out. It was a lot. Oh, and I was, I don't know how to step it out. But I was like, I was bad today, and then I had for a third grade writing. Okay, and then I had to you know, yeah. Yeah. Like I would get kind of, yeah, and then that's like.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for your kind words. Let me know what helps you. I like your.
I like it, just hurts people back.
I appreciate that. That means the world. Thank you. Yeah, it's very.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I just, like, that was a lot for my brain. I'm not gonna work, I'm gonna take a 1 hour break. Yeah. There's only so much I can escape.